2019 for the regular scheduled VCB board meeting. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. Can I do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Cecil Pendergrass.
Here.
John McClain. Fran Myers.
Here.
Anita
Here.
Saracito.
Here.
Pamela Cronin.
Here.
Tony Lappy.
Here.
Colleen DePasquale.
Here.
Robert Wells.
Here.
Bill Wachulis.
Here.
Brian Kramer.
Here.
All are present. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Good morning. I'd like to also welcome our two new rotating members. We have the Mayor of Florence Beach, Anita's here this morning, and John McClain, Councilman from the Village of Estero. Thank you. Welcome. Look forward to you being here. I think, John, this is probably your first time serving. Anita, you've done it, I don't know how many times, probably over the years. So,
I'm glad to be back.
yeah, welcome back. So you're going to see all the great stuff we do, and John's been a great asset to the Village of Estero. He's a good positive asset to us. So thank you, John, for everything you do down in the Village of Estero.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to the, we need approval of the June 13, 2019 TDC minute meetings.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion for the minutes? Okay. Well, any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we'll take public comment from anyone from the public at this time. Yes, sir. Come to the podium and state your name. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
Good morning. My name is John Gucciardo. I'm the spokesperson and government liaison for TPI Hospitalities and the Margaritaville Resort on Fort Myers Beach. Just wanted to give you a brief update on the status of the resort. As most of you know, it was about a year and a half ago that we got a unanimous approval from the town council for the project to go forward. We haven't been able to move forward as quickly as we would like because of some legal challenges to the town. The good news is that the civil action, which would have been the more complicated of the two legal actions, has now been dismissed. The second action, which is a writ of certiorari, kind of an appeal of the town council's decision, is sitting on a judge's desk right now. We're waiting for a signature. And the good news is on that the town attorneys and our attorneys are confident enough in the outcome of that to kind of give us the green light to start moving ahead with some tangible improvements. So as of about November, you'll start to see some renovations on what used to be known as the old cotton shop building on Fort Myers Beach. We're going to repurpose that as part of the resort, and that work should start in November. Then right after the first weekend in January, our tenants will be vacating their operating businesses, and you'll start to see the demolition of some of the older structures that was in the resort footprint, and construction should start soon after that. The timeline for construction is about a year and a half to 2 years, so hopefully we'll be operating. The goal is to be operating by mid-season of 2022. I would invite you all to check the Margaritaville Resort Fort Myers Beach Facebook page for updates. We've just recently posted some of the new renderings and also a geographic map to point out to people where the resort's actually going to be. I'm still amazed that some of the folks, even some of the residents on the island, had trouble picturing where it was going to be. So we're trying to update that Facebook page as we move along. I invite you again to kind of visit that, and if you have any further questions about the status of the resort, we're always available through that Facebook page. If I can offer one other comment about something that's totally unrelated to Margaritaville Resort, as a person who grew up in New York City and still has family in there, I have occasion to fly in and out of LaGuardia Airport on a regular basis. For those of you who have read the recent report about our airport, I don't get it. I love our Regional Southwest, and not quite sure what criteria they were using there, but I know you guys will be looking into that. Again, sorry.
Thank you. We feel the same way, so thank you. Anyone else, please come forward. Thank you.
Good morning. That was a long walk. I'm Lisa Wilson. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the PR director at Edison and Ford Winter Estates. And on behalf of Mike Flanders, our president and CEO, I want to thank the TDC and partners for continuing their support with us and we hope that we can continue to work together. We have a lot of new things coming up. Last year, we rebranded and we designed a new website, and we're currently working on designing all new marketing material. So you probably can't see these from there, but we have new brochures now. So for those of you who are in other attractions and hotels, you'll see the new brochure and the new logo out and about. We also have a lot of new programs that we're working on. Last year, we launched Citrus Grove, and we had an opening, and I know some of you were there for that. And we have plans to expand the Ford Cottage and turn that into a Citrus Cafe. So we want to be able to offer our visitors a place to have a bite to eat and enjoy the river view. We also have a full lineup planned for our Rhythm on the River concert series this year. We have several bands returning, and we have a Jimmy Buffett tribute band that's going to be playing next season. So we're really thrilled to have him here. Them coming. And we also have some new exhibits planned. We have an Edison and Tesla exhibit that'll be opening on October 4th. And then we have a Family and Friends exhibit that'll depict Edison and Ford and their families. That'll be opening later this year in the museum as well. So we have a lot of new things coming up. And again, we hope that the TDC is able to continue to support us, because we want to be able to market our site as part of what makes Southwest Florida a great place to visit to all of our all of our visitors. So thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk, and I hope to see you all at our site soon.
Thank you. Jake?
Good morning. I'm Lois Croft, the director of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. I'd like to just invite everyone to our upcoming event that we're having in regards to the proposed legislation on the $15 an hour minimum wage. We're going to have that on August 22nd at 4 o'clock down at Nervous Nelly's. It is going to be a free event this time for our FRLA chapter, for the chapter event. And Nervous Nelly's is kind enough to offer discounted drinks and appetizers and stuff for us as well. But we're bringing down our government relations team from Florida, Tallahassee, FRLA, to talk about the implications of what could happen if this legislation actually goes through. It could be real devastating to a lot of our smaller restaurants. It can also, the proposed legislation also is going to maybe impact all of the tipped wages as well. So that could really change the whole dynamics of the restaurants and our hotels and everyone that's a tipped employee. So I have some flyers I'll give to you as well, but you can look on our FLA Lead Chapter website to register for that. We hope that we can see you there. It's going to be more of a forum, informational structure for this one. We want your input, how it might impact your establishment as well. So we like to have a lot of people attend and gather some information from you, and also educate you on how you can talk to your employees about this, because I'm sure as a staff person, they're going to love the $15 an hour, but what can this really have impact on your establishment? So we hope you can join us for that. Jay?
Good morning. Jay Johnson with Bubba's Roadhouse. I'm also the Vice President of Restaurants for the local chapter of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. I'd like to read into the record a statement that the Florida Restaurant Association has made on Visit Florida. As many of you know, Visit Florida was extended for 1 year and a trial or look and see what happens basis. And we want to encourage not only the TDC but also Lee County to continue to support Visit Florida as we go into the 2020 legislative session. Visit Florida serves as a critical function for promoting our state. It effectively promotes the Sunshine State to people around the globe, and I've seen firsthand how the work is vital for smaller communities and those that experience disasters. In 2018 alone, Visit Florida provided marketing support to businesses and individual communities who were hit by red tide, blue-green algae, and Hurricane Michael. They provided grants and advertising matches to assist in disaster recovery marketing, to help let everyone know our beaches, waterways, parks, and businesses were open and ready to host them for a vacation of a lifetime. Further, according to the Florida Department of Revenue, bed taxes in rural counties have grown nearly 50% faster than urban counties since 2012. This is in thanks to Visit Florida, which is so much more than beautiful advertising. They work diligently to promote all of Florida and showcase all of what makes our state so great. I urge the TDC and Lee County to take action now and help protect our state's economy and the millions in jobs created by those who visit the Sunshine State by showing support for Visit Florida. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Good morning. I am Ashley Gibbons with the Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce, and I wanted to let everyone know about our upcoming event. On August 29th, we are having a Legislative Power Hour, and we will have Dana Young, President and CEO of Visit Florida, talk to us and give us an update on Visit Florida. And we will also have Ray Ann Wessel with the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation, and she will be talking to us about key policies we are focusing on related to water quality. We know that these two topics are very important, so we are opening this event to tourism partners. It will be at Sanibel Harbor on August 29th from 4 to 6 p.m. You can find the event details and registration on our website, on our event calendar at sanibel-captiva.org, or you can give us a call at the chamber and we can get you signed up through the phone. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other speakers at this time? Public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. And our next agenda item is the wonderful Tamara Pygott. She's going to have a report for us. Oh, I'm sorry, municipalities. I almost skipped the municipalities. Judy, I'm so sorry. We had so much good news, I kind of skipped the municipalities. So next will be the municipalities to be heard. And I saw Judy come in earlier, so I should have known you were here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Judy Zvermer. I'm the city manager of Sanibel. And I wanted to rise to just make several comments. First, I'm accompanied by our city council member, Holly D. Smith. And Ms. Smith is council's liaison to the TDC. So I'm happy she's here with me today, and I anticipate she'll be with me throughout the year attending these meetings. And of course, has the experience now having served as a representative of the island communities on the TDC in the past. Number two, I just wanted to mention, there's a couple anniversaries coming up before we meet again, and I would mention these in September, but before the TDC reconvenes, we'll be having both the second anniversary of Hurricane Irma as well as the 15th year anniversary of Hurricane Charlie. And I will be going into my 19th year as city manager of Sanibel. And so during that tenure, I've had the opportunity to watch and work very closely with TDC and your staff as we've worked through all those challenges. I know how valuable you are, how important our partnership is, and hopefully we'll never have to go through another one of those in my tenure. But if we do, I know how important those are. And I think it's important to take the notes of those anniversaries and how far we've come in our recovery since those, because of our cooperative spirit here. So thank you for that. And finally, we always like to, on Sanibel, report back on the progress for the funds that you all give us. And I think you recently received the update on our new restrooms that we opened. Thank you for your funding. But hot off the press is out of your event and marketing funds this year, for the first time, our city received funding. And of course, biking and hiking on Sanibel is extremely popular with our 26 miles of shared use paths. When we do surveys, we have as many as 5,000 people on bikes at any given time around the island. It's become a major means of transportation. And the opportunity to promote as an alternative to help reduce traffic, biking as a safe alternative has become very, very popular. And your organization was nice enough to provide us funding not only for this brochure, but it ties into our app called Sanibel Bound that talks about traffic and alternatives to vehicular traffic on Sanibel. So thank you, and I thought you'd be interested in seeing this. We'll be distributing about 155,000 of these on the first run on Sanibel this season. So thank you again for your partnership.
Great, thank you. Any other cities to be heard?
Good morning, Michelle Dean with City of Cape Coral Parks and Recreation, and I'll make this quick. I just wanted to give you all an update. We have some big projects going on over in the Cape. First of all, we have a new ADA freshwater kayak launch that's being added to Saratoga Lake Park. This is very similar to the one at Serenia Vista Park that was added earlier this year. This is due to open the end of September, so we're real excited about that. Saratoga Lake Park is the one that leads into Lake Kennedy, so this will be a great opportunity for visitors and for residents. We also have the first Parks Go Bond project to an existing park has been completed with the installation of new LED lighting at Storm Football Field. And with the Parks Go Bond funds, Cape Coral is going to be doing a number of projects to existing parks. There's 4 new pavilions being added, a couple of new playgrounds, and several new shade structures to existing playgrounds, as well as existing athletic field bleacher areas. So we feel like that's going to be a great upgrade, again, for these sporting events to have the spectator areas actually covered from the beautiful sunshine. We also have Wi-Fi coming to several parks. And then lastly, the new park construction. The city now has 2 firms under contract to design and build the 11 new parks that are coming to Cape Coral. This includes 7 neighborhood parks, and they are being designed and built by AECom, and the 4 community parks that are being designed and built by Kimley Horn. So those contracts were recently went into effect, and look for an announcement in the next couple of days. Public input workshops for the 7 neighborhood parks are going to begin in mid-September. So those will be taking place throughout the city. And we encourage Cape Coral homeowners to come and provide public input. Let us know what you want in those new parks. And if you're not able to attend the meetings, we do have a website, capecoral.net/GO Bond. You can find out anything you like about any of those new projects coming, the new parks coming, and provide any input if you are a Cape Coral resident. So we're real excited about these projects, and I just wanted to share with you.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you. Any other cities and municipalities at this time? Well, I didn't realize until Judy mentioned that Holly's here somewhere. I don't see her. Where's Holly at? Oh, you're behind the pole. Okay. Well, I just want, if I know you're here, Holly, I'm sorry, Councilwoman. I also want to recognize for our 2 new appointees here for the TDC, as Holly served us the last couple of years on the board, and thank you to you and John Carrier for everything you've done. Didn't see you back there behind the pole, but thank you for all your time. Holly's been really engaged, and she was really a good asset to our council here, so thank you, Holly. No other cities? We'll move on to Tamara now.
Right. So because we did not have a meeting in July, I am sharing with you 2 months' worth of data. May, performance was very good. Bad tax collection up 7.1%. June, not so much, down 1%. In terms of year-to-date, we are down 0.2% year-to-date, about a little under $80,000 behind last year. Of course, that's fiscal year, and I will remind you, the fall, we were bonused from the previous year, the hurricane, all the crews and such, so that is why we are down primarily. Star report for May, the good news. For June, the bad news. Occupancy for May up 0.5%. In June, down 4.9%. ADR up in May, down in June, up 1.6% in May, down 1.2% in June. And RevPAR up 2.1% in May, down 6.1% in June. I will point out that we had 1 less Friday and 1 extra Sunday in June 2019. I don't think that is all of those numbers, I want to be clear, but it certainly makes a difference in terms of occupancy. And we also had a very good June last year. RevPAR last year was up 8.5% in June, so maybe a bit of a moderation. We might have just had a really good June last year that makes this June not look as good.
I think you're going to see the same in July. Just talking to the other hotels, I mean, it wasn't a great July. I mean, I think Red Tide last year
We're
And people
paying the
didn't
lingering effects, yeah.
in return.
In terms of the airport, certainly nothing slowing down there. 8.5% up in May and 7.4% up in June. And for the calendar year, hard to believe that in June we've already had over 6 million visitors, or 6 million passengers, excuse me, through the airport, 9.3% increase. So things are banging out there. Before I ask Jill and Stephanie to come up and provide you with the sales report, I want to introduce our newest VCB staff member. Her name is Annie Banyan. She is a part of our administrative team, serving as our new liaison with our communications department. Here is Annie. Annie is a Ohio native, but has lived in Lee County for 14 years, and she earned her bachelor's degree from Florida Gulf Coast in communications with a concentration in public relations and a minor in management. So please welcome Annie to our team. Super excited to have her. I also, Judy is probably going to mention it, but in front of you is an invitation to the E-Awards. We hope you will join us. It's an envelope, if you see it in front of you. So please join us for the E-Awards. I know that this was included in our May newsletter to the industry. It's also in the news press column today. We are gathering resident input on our branding project. So please, if you haven't taken the survey, and I know the TDC members have been involved in this process. This is more communication for our industry partners out there. We certainly want you to participate, you and all the businesses in the community to participate in the resident survey. So please do that. If you can't find it, follow me on Facebook, and you can find it on my Facebook page, but we'll make sure you get it. Just send me an email, and I'll send you the link. But we want you to definitely do the resident survey. We appreciate that input. The more local resident input we get on that, the better. Last but not least, and this will be in your notebooks for TDC member items, the folks at the Ding Darling Society are withdrawing their beach and shoreline request that they put in this cycle. There's been some changes in staff and some changes in direction there, and they are not going to be able to complete that project. It was a $47,000 request, so that's coming off the list. Obviously, the board will be considering those as part of the capital budget when the county does the budget process, but that project is not going to move forward. So. With that said, I'm now going to ask Jill to come up and give you the sales report.
Good morning, Council. I'm Jill Vance, Director of Sales, and I'll be going over your sales activities. So here's a recap of our fiscal year-to-date results from our sales goals. We have just attained our annual goal for the number of room nights from the RFPs that we have sent our hotel partners. Also, we are ahead of pace on the room nights booked by our hotel partners from those RFPs. There are less than 4,000 room nights remaining to book, and I'm confident we'll reach that goal. As you can see, we have also attained our annual target for the next two objectives. One for the amount of domestic and international travel professionals that we have hosted here in the destination through familiarization and site tours, and the other for the number of client events that we have held both domestically and internationally. And finally, we're just slightly behind pace, but we've made up a lot of ground on the wedding leads sent. We need 58 more leads in order to attain our goal for the year, and we're working hard to reach that. A big thank you to all of our industry partners who participated in our June Faith-Based FAM and Corporate Meeting Planner FAMs. Candace and Jerry showcased what's unique in the destination for conferences to 10 faith-based meeting planners and 5 Midwest corporate meeting planners. And we've already have 5 leads pending decisions from these meeting planners. VCB on the road. Here are some of our group sales team's activities for last quarter. Betsy attended the Connect New York City show with one of our hotel partners. 300 association and corporate meeting planners were in attendance.
New York City, meeting planners are typically difficult to get an appointment with, and this show gave us that opportunity. Betsy has already sent 3 leads totaling over 3,500 room nights to our hotel partners as a direct result of this show. Also, Candace attended the CMCA annual conference with one of our hotel partners. This was a reverse trade show with over 400 meeting professionals who represented faith-based associations and organizations, and Candace has sent 4 leads so far. And the last show I want to point out, Jerry attended the Destination Celebration shows, one in Minneapolis, one in Kansas City. Each of these shows attracted over 100 high-level meeting planners, and Jerry's already sent 4 leads, totaling almost 2,000 room nights. Here are some highlights for the consumer and travel agent teams activities. The first photo is Shelley with several of our hotel partners who participate in the Allegiant Hotel program at the Allegiant Reservations headquarters in Las Vegas, where we educated about 75 reservation agents on the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. Also, I'd like to point out the West Coast Florida Travel Agent Sales Mission, where 5 of our industry partners joined us to form 3 teams, and we made sales calls on 68 travel agencies and AAA offices on the west coast of Florida. And finally, Shelley attended the CCRA Power Solutions Live event in New York City. It was a travel agent trade show supplemented with roundtable sessions. And this new show gave us the opportunity to get in front of a lot of home-based New York City travel agents who book both leisure and business travelers. Next are the upcoming activities for the domestic sales team. And for August, just to point out a couple, Aaron and Betsy will once again divide and conquer the Connect Trade Show. One will each take a market, one corporate, one association, and meet one-on-one with over 70 meeting planners. We consistently get great results from this show, and we're looking forward to continuing that trend. Also, Aaron will be attending Smart Meetings National 3-day show. This is a hosted by our show with 60 corporate meeting planners from Fortune 500 companies who are looking to book a Florida destination, and 80% of the meeting planners every year are new to the show. So this will be our 2nd year attending the show, and we're looking forward to mining new corporate business. And finally, for September, Jerry will be attending IMEX America. Now, this show increases in size and scope every year. It's the largest hosted buyer show in North America, and it attracts 3,200 qualified meeting planners from all around the world. Once again, we'll be in the Visit Florida booth, whose location is front and center upon entrance to the exhibit hall. In addition to a full appointment book, this prime location generates a great deal of walk-up business, and this location enables the marketing team's geofencing efforts to be even more effective. And finally, Candace will be attending the Going on Faith Group Traveler Show. Over 200 of the top faith-based meeting planners will be in attendance. Faith-based travel continues to grow in popularity, and they're always on the lookout for family-friendly destinations, and of which we are a great fit. Are there any questions before I turn it over to Stephanie Zinka, who will update you on our international sales activities?
Good morning, Council, and everyone else in the room. I'm Stephanie Zinke, International Sales, and I'll give you a brief update on the past month. Looking back at April, we attended World Travel Market in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Aside from the one-on-one meetings that we have in partnership with the hotel who was attending with us, Interstate Hotels and Resorts, we did appointment with tour operator and airlines. But we also partnered with Visit Florida on a media reception where we had the opportunity to speak to 25 influencers and travel writers and trade media to promote our area. In Canada, we attended the WestJet and Travel Brands events, and our Germany team was part of the Visit Florida sales mission through 4 different cities. And speaking of Germany, meet Nadia. She is our new account manager at GCE, our contract agency in Frankfurt. You may see her name on emails or reports moving forward, but hopefully you'll get to see and meet her in person when she is in the destination in September for her training. In May, the highlight was definitely our Canada Roadshow that we did together with the Westin Cape Coral and South Seas Island Resort. We also had a very special guest. Her name is Harriet, the manatee. She attended with us 2 events, one in Montreal and one in Toronto. Through the presentations and trainings that went very well, I have to say nothing creates a lasting and more impressions better than a moving, talking, and laughing manatee. She definitely made an impression, and she appeared at those events to speak to operators and trade media alike, to explain why she and all of her wildlife friends choose and love Southwest Florida so much. And we actually, with those 2 events alone, we reached 250,000 of media impressions. So I took a note myself, so maybe from now on I do all my presentations in a hairy costume. If you haven't seen, there is a little resemblance here in height, especially between the 2 of us. Speaking of out-of-the-box events, our UK event was part of a Visit Florida summer sailing event that was in London. We had a boat of 8 key partners ranging from British Airways, Holidays, to American Airlines, and other key tour operator. We came in second place in tied with Universal Resort, but it was a great networking opportunity. We were also chosen once again as the host of one of the FAM groups for Der Touristik Germany's, one of their USA mega FAMs. We hosted 13 of the agents here in destination, and then they went on to reunite with the other 120 agents in San Diego, where they actually presented on their great experience here in the market. In June, we attended IPW in Anaheim. It's also known as International Powwow. It's the largest U.S. inbound travel show hosted by USTA. We had 5 of our hotel partners with us, our international contractors, and our TDC chair and Commissioner Pendergrass. We completed 134 appointments and hosted also a regional West Coast Florida event for 350 plus trade and media professionals under the slogan, Rock the Gulf Beaches, and that was done in partnership with Visit Florida as an effort to tell the world that we are back to normal and our beaches are open for business. Then I took a plane and I traveled 13 hours west as we embarked with Visit Florida on our, and other several DMO partners and suppliers, on our sales and PR mission around China. We covered 4 cities from Beijing to Xi'an, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. And then altogether, we trained and engaged with 340 trade professionals. We also hosted 47 key opinion leaders, Chinese call KOLs. We know them better as influence and travel writers in Beijing and Shanghai. In Beijing alone, the top 10 outlets or KOLs that were present had a combined total reach of 6.8 million media impressions or followers. So with regards to China, the one thing I do want to point out is up until now we have focused primarily on PR efforts. We are definitely in an exploratory stage for this market. We are and will continue to partner with Brand USA and Visit Florida to evaluate the market and its potential of future visitation growth, not only for the state, but essentially for Lee County. For the first time ever, China has actually made the top 10 list with Visit Florida's source markets in 2018. With a total of 306,000 visitors. Just to put that in perspective, for Germany, which is a very important market to the entire state, Florida received 423,000 visitors 2018. So I do have a full report that's available with market from our sales mission, as well as a full market report with a lot of great intel and data. In case anybody's interested, please reach out and I'll gladly share that with you. And unless there are no questions, oh, sorry, I forgot an entire slide. Okay. Looking ahead for September, just to point out really just one main thing, which would be the Brand USA Travel Week in London this year. It's a brand new show organized by Brand USA. It will be in London this year. It's targeting UK buyers, but it's also, because of its location, it will draw in buyers from other European cities. It's an appointment-based show, so we're looking forward to exploring this, and we will share more details in our next meeting. Now, if there's no more questions, I will pass it on to Judy, who will give you an update on visitors reports. Okay.
Thank you.
And Jill.
Good morning, Judy Duran with Visitor Services. So very happy to see all of you in this beautiful morning. Very briefly, just wanted to let you know that we've had a really great first quarter, or second quarter rather. As you'll see, that we've actually worked with about 55,000 visitors. And what's really fun is we've seen an increase in our Eurowings passengers. It's a busy travel season these last couple of months. So that's been a lot of fun for us. On our top 3 information requests, what I really want you to focus on here are the pictures. One of the fun things that the volunteers do besides work in the visitor information booths is they actually also serve as roamers. So as you'll see in the left photo, we have volunteers that just wander all over the airport to help visitors. And with the number of folks, for example, so far calendar year to date, we've actually worked with over 143,000 visitors. So we're actually doing a lot of one-on-one interaction. In the middle, you see that volunteer, Don. He actually literally finds people, and when they look confused, in this particular instance, he walked them over to the rental car counter. And on the right, this lovely lady, Rhonda, she found a husband and wife who had just disembarked, and they were a little testy, so she did some nice interference and made faces at the baby and distracted them while Dad went to get the luggage. So we thought that was kind of cool. So you can see our top 3 information requests, but the biggest thing were what Judy was mentioning earlier, biking and trails. That's a biggie, along with parks and shelling. Here's a list of some of our community and partner support highlights. As you'll see, every month we had something very unique and fun happening. One of the highlights in April, of course, was working with Elaine McLaughlin and Yuki Onaga with the Okinawa CVB to talk about crisis management. In May, of course, we had the Lee County Travel Rally. As you all know, that was in support of National Travel and Tourism Week, and we were very pleased to do that with our partners, the News Press, as well as JetBlue Airlines. And in June, we started our Team Tourism Summer Lecture Series workshops, starting with the LIT group, where he talked about trends in hotel renovations, and I know many of you were there, and we appreciate that, as well as the one in July with Dr. Peter DeCarlo, who talked about not only understanding cultural differences, but tourism security. Some of our other special projects, of course, some of the destination education that we do on a year-round basis included an amazing literal walking tour and interactive experience with the Calusa Heritage Trail as part of Randall Research Center. And then we actually did some painting, if you will. We had some volunteers learn what the Bonita Arts Center does, and if you've not experienced that yet, please do that. That's quite something. As far as our look ahead, we have a couple of other Team Tourism Summer Workshop Series programs. Do not miss August 13th, which is next week, which is our International Market Today Outlook with our own Stephanie Zinke as our key presenter. And rather than me mention the speakers, maybe Stephanie, you'd like to quickly say who they are?
Okay. So we will have 3 different panelists. It will be a panel setup. We'll have somebody from Booking.com to represent OTA. I'm getting pointed over here, sorry. So we have 3 different panelists. We have somebody from Booking.com to represent the OTA, online travel agency perspective of things. We'll have a gentleman from a German tour operator, Flamingo Fernreisen, join us to give a perspective of tour operators. And then we also have, who's the third one? Meeting Point North America. Meeting Point North America is one of the wholesale based here in Florida, pushing our products out to the world through tour operators. So please join us on the 13th and bring lots of questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. It's really going to be a very interactive workshop, and I think if you make time to attend, you will definitely enjoy it. So please do join us. Also, join us for the last workshop series of the summer, which will also be on September 12th. We're doing something a little bit different, working with our American Disabilities Act partners. They will be on hand to actually help people better understand how to work with persons with disabilities. It will be interactive, which simply means you will, I'm not going to say more. Please come. It's really, really, really educational, informative, and it's just extremely valuable. So we do hope that you join us also at San Harbor Marriott. And of course, I can't forget the E-Awards. We're excited about that, and we hope that you come. There's still plenty of room. We've just opened registrations. Simone has worked very hard on this program. It's, as you see up there, it's just grown beyond comprehension. We received this year over 1,000 nominations, which represents 580 individual employees, tourism employees, nominees. These are people that have worked really hard and been nominated by guests as well as peers. So we do hope that you join us then. And if you have no other questions, that is all I have. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Lonely Planet Guide. When was the last print on that, and how has that worked? I guess I haven't followed up on that in a while.
Brian? Courtney? They're all pointing back there. Who's going to answer that question?
Rob, you want to ask your question again, because he didn't hear you, he was back in the corner.
I just wanted to get the status on the Lonely Planet Guide. I know there was a lot of hype around the original partnership there. Do we maintain that partnership with them? Do we plan on reprinting with them, or was that a one-off, and then we're still using brochures from that original print?
No, so we had a 3-year contract with Lonely Planet, and we just put to bed the 2020 guide. So that will be delivered after the first of the year, and so now procurement is going to require us to go back to RFP for the following year. But the partnership with them has been really good. Consumption of those guides has dropped. Obviously, we live in a digital world, so we're seeing more digital views and things of that nature, what they call a digimag. But we do have them at the airport, and we are still distributing them and fulfilling them as we had intended.
And just to answer your question, Rob, I think, for the most part, it's been very well received. Consumers like it. They like the size. They like the compact nature of it. Judy, you'll see in the sales report some of those comments that the consumers at the shows like the size of the guide. But I think that's now, that's like 8 years we've been in partnership with them. So always good to think about mixing it up, though. Now I'd like to invite Francesca to give us the communications report.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Francesca Donlan, Director of Communications, and we have been communicating a lot, but before I give you my presentation, I just want to make sure that you saw, if you don't get the news press and you're not aware, TAM does a column every 2 weeks on the coastal page, and we've been getting a lot of incredible real estate on the paper, and this one is a particularly good one. It's about Island Hopper coming up. So please get the news press if you want to check it out. And again, why that column's important to us is because it helps us tell our tourism story to all the residents in Lee County. All right, moving forward, I wanted to talk to you about some media coverage that we've had recently. We are working hard, and we've been getting better and more media coverage recently. And the good thing that excites me about it is, particularly because of last summer, is that not only are we back on the best beaches again, but we are getting coverage from, we are more than our beaches, and we are getting coverage from downtown and all of the areas in Lee County in big publications. So we're really proud of that. We've also been hosting a lot of international media. We've been taking them on kayaks and showing them our beautiful, all that we have, all of our wildlife. They've been particularly interested in that this year. And we've gotten some tremendous coverage. Recent media visits. So every year we try to get some journalists to do the tarpon tournament. And this year we had the ladies come. So we had 2 journalists from USA Today and Boston Globe and Garden and Gun who actually hadn't really fished before. And I thought it was really funny when one of them asked me if I could bring her some tea on the boat. And I'm like, oh, we're in big, big trouble now. So anyway, we don't have tea on the boat. But anyway, they were called The Real Women, R-E-E-L, and they didn't actually catch any real fish. But they had a tremendous time. We had a news press journalist also on the boat that day to chronicle it. And it's still just a lot of fun, and they'll come back and try to catch their fish. We also had a UK wedding fam. They got to see hotel properties and see some weddings in progress, and they, of course, were very impressed by that. Media fams. We've had some big journalists come here, and I want to point out one in particular. The top, Lynn Mettler, was here with U.S. News and World Report and Today.com, which are big gets. But what she told me while we were eating our donut at Bennett's is that why it's critical, and I know this, but I just want to tell you, and it played out. So she said why it's critical to host journalists like a Lynn Mettler is because she came here for one specific reason, to cover our destination. But because she's a busy person, and everybody wants Lynn Mettler to come, she can't go everywhere. So she's been here, and it's in her mind, and so when she's asked to do a roundup, which means like, do best girlfriend getaways, do best beaches, do best pina colada on the beach, she now has us in mind. And so just 2 weeks ago, she had a roundup for Reader's Digest and MSN for best places to go for the Labor Day weekend. And she had just been here, so boom, we got on that list. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving when you can host these journalists, because even the project that they are telling you that they're doing is just one of potentially many, many projects. So that was a big get for us. Recent initiatives. So sometimes we work really, really hard to land these, and then sometimes they just land in our laps. And this is one of those sort of magic that happens when you're out there and you're hustling, and they say, hey, can Tyler Florence come to Fort Myers? Tyler Florence, if you don't know him, is a host, the host and one of the, I think, was it producers of, anyway, the Food Network channel. So I want to show you just a couple of places that he hit while he was here.
One of the best like chicken waffles I've tasted in a long time, man. This is great. Now once you get the crust. That's not maple syrup, that's like caramel. That's delicious. That flavor is great. You get like a spicy fried chicken, like a nice waffle, circle and stuff up in, and make it look really kind of sick with a like crispy sweet potato hay. Then nice dish. Fort Myers finest, man. Delicious. Super happy. Boom. Donuts to set. We're going to go wrestle alligators today. You need the energy that comes with a donut. That's right. So this is the world famous Bennett Fresh Roast Donut Shop. It is. It's world famous because we make everything from scratch. Everything is rich and doughy and puffy and wonderful. I love it. So these are yeast donuts. These aren't cake donuts, right? Anybody can make a cake donut. Not everybody can make a yeast donut. It takes 2 hours to make each of these donuts. Popular donut, there's the glaze. Everybody loves a classic. Exactly. Right? Look at that, man. Hero status. There you go, my friend. You're going to make a lot of people happy today. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Okay. Those are some alligators. The other thing that if you look at this piece, and if you wanted to look it up, it's on YouTube, he also talks about Dixie Fish House and Fort Myers Brewery, because they also did the food truck race, the food truck race, if you had heard about that. So there's four of our attractions or destinations on this piece, and it's really, really exciting. It's had more than 1 million views and counting, so that was exciting for us. Moving forward, we went to New York City, met a whole bunch of journalists there. The great part about that was we took our partner, Fort Myers Brewing Company, with us, and they had a tremendous time. Some of the people that we met at Fort Myers at this particular takeover also came out in the future to help us. North American Travel Journalists Association, Shelley Krant and I went there. It's where we get to meet some of the best top journalists in the country. 2 things came out of that meeting. One was that we're going to have the North American Travel Journalists Association board meeting here in January, which is a big win. And the second thing is one of the board members on the, I'll just say NACHA, does a program with PBS called Weekend Explorer, and we're working with Visit Florida and Collier to bring him down actually in a couple weeks to do 2 6.5-minute pieces on us. So that's really, really exciting too. I showed you about Vineyard Vines last time we met, but I'm just showing you again because it's also the gift that keeps on giving. We've got an extra 1 million e-blast from it. Vineyard Vines came down, for those of you who don't know, came down a few months ago or more, and this is such an ideal location for their brand, and they keep using us again and again. So it's been really exciting. Another media mission, Jackie Parker went with some other destinations and visited some of the big lifestyle publications in Nashville, Atlanta, Birmingham. Some of those people have also come back to us. So that was a good opportunity for Jackie to meet with those magazines and publications, and also to hang out with our other destinations and find out some of their tricks to the trade. And then coming up, you're going to hear about it again and again, but Island Hopper Songwriter Fest. We're going to have a group of journalists here for that. 2019 Hopi World Championship, we're working really hard for that. And that's going to be, you're going to hear a lot about that going forward. Next month, we're going to go to Boston to a Fenway Media event where we get to take a suite. We host the top journalist from New England in the suite for the evening, and then we're going to go to Philadelphia for another tap takeover. And then I want to tell you a little bit about this. This is really exciting. So Robert Rose is the host of a show called Raw Travel. And if you're not familiar with Raw Travel, it's a show that wants the authentic travel experience. It doesn't want to go to Disney World. It doesn't want to go to the places everyone else goes. It wants to go to some beautiful slice of paradise like ours, and then find the sweet spot and the authentic folks. So he worked with Go RVing. He parked his RV at Red Coconut, and he went on an adventure. And what I wanted to read to you is a quote that he's going to have in his show, which, by the way, is going to be his season premiere, which is very exciting, and that's going to be coming out in mid-October. But this is the quote that's going to be airing in his program. "I believe you can judge a community by how they treat their animals. It's evident that residents of Lee County in Southwest Florida treasure their natural environment and animal neighbors." And he got to go see Crow. He went to the Shell Factory and saw the Nature Center, and he went to Mount Lachey, and he went to a lot of places, as you can see by those pictures, and we're really, really excited to be part of his season premiere. And his message about traveling, that you can travel, he travels the world, and he's an advocate for travel and how travel changes your life. And then lastly, I just want to talk about my favorite pages, because these are the accolades that we get, because I love us being on the best list. So who's not the most fun place if not us? TAM, actually, we got some extra local coverage from that. TAM was on the news talking about how fun we are as well. Reader's Digest, You News Report, it just goes on. And once again, it just speaks to how hard you work and the slice of paradise that we get to call home. And if you are grumpy and you forget about that, just look at one of these lists and remember that people all over the world do whatever they can to get here. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. Now I will ask Philip Downs from Down St. Germain to give us the second quarter research report.
Good morning, Council. I'm Philip Downs of Downs and St. Germain Research. We'll share with you today the results of the second quarter visitor tracking and economic impact report. We'll take you through the visitor journey, starting when they start, their pre-visit, when they plan. We'll look at the travel party profile, discuss their experiences here and how they evaluate their experiences, and then look at the economic impact of their visits here. The economic impact really is the bottom line, and so we'll start there. Here are some metrics, a snapshot, if you will, of our visitor experiences. The last column shows the change year to year. Visitation is down 6.1%. But we had more available inventory this quarter compared to last year. And our visitors stayed a little bit longer, which softened the blow on the direct spending, which is only down 3.7%, and actually resulted in an increase in room nights. Accommodation metrics, occupancy was down nearly 3%, ADR down just slightly, resulting in a decrease in RevPAR of 3.4%. Let's look at what they do before they come here. They plan at least 3 months out, at least 6 out of 10 of our visitors do. Lee County is not an impulse destination. Only 13% of our visitors plan less than 1 month out to come here. 2 out of 10 requested information from the VCB, from hotels and a visitor guide. And 1 in 7 consider other destinations. And the key ones that they consider are Key West, Naples, and the Tampa Bay area. They use websites just like we do to plan their trips. They look at airline websites, they Google, and they look at booking websites. They're heavily influenced to come here by our wonderful benefits, the warm weather, the fact that it's peaceful and relaxing, the fact that it's a safe destination, and our wonderful white sandy beaches. The reasons they come here, pretty much the same thing. They come here to de-stress, to decompress, to relax, to vacation, to enjoy the beach, and to chat with their friends and relatives. 3 in 10 recalled a promotion from our area, and a plurality recalled something on the internet, and 1 in 3 recalled a promotion on TV, and then 1 out of 5 recalled something on social media. They book their trips directly, at least about half of them do. The other half are booking through Vrbo and HomeAway, Airbnb, other OTAs, and vacation rental companies. 7 out of 10 flew here, and most of those used RSW. About 11% also used Punta Gorda. So let's look at the profile. The Midwest remains the key origin region, and that percentage is up from last year. The Northeast is a key origin. That's stable from last year. The Southeast is actually down a little bit from last year. Canada is up slightly. 5 out of 6 visitors come from the U.S. Chicago, New York, the Northeast and Midwest markets are key origin markets. Chicago and New York were down very slightly, and Minneapolis, St. Paul was up slightly. Our visitor parties were 3.2. That's down from last year. 3 out of 10 of our visitors traveled with their children, and 4 in 10 came as couples. Here's a profile. Our typical visitor is just over 50, has a median income a little less than $100,000. Most are married, college educated, and white, with a fairly even split between males and females. Let's look at their experiences here. Almost equal percentages stayed in non-paid accommodations, condos, and hotels. They spent 7.4 nights here when considering all visitors. When considering visitors who stayed in paid accommodations, that number went down to 4.7. 1 out of 4 are first-time visitors, and that's critical as we keep adding new people to the destination. But just as critical is the fact that over 1 out of 4 are loyal visitors who have been with us more than 10 times. Things that they enjoy and do while they're here are beaches, relax and unwind, dine and shop. Over 40% shop. This slide juxtaposes what they do and why they came. Why they came on the left, what they did on the right. For example, 56% came to relax and unwind, when in fact 77% actually did that. 54% came for our beaches, but 78% enjoyed them. If you look down below the dotted line, only 9% came for nature, but 31% enjoyed our nature. Only 4% came to shop, but 42% actually shopped while they were here. Top attractions visited, our beach is the #1 attraction by far. Almost 4 out of 10 visited Fort Myers Beach Pier. 3 out of 10 visited the Sanibel outlets. 1 out of 4 Edison and Ford Winter Estates. They stayed across our destination. Let's look at how they evaluated their stay here. All of these numbers are up, which is very good news. Over 90% would recommend our destination. Over 90% will return. 2 out of 3 say they're going to come back next year. And then 4 out of 10 said that their accommodations exceeded their expectations. By the way, only 3% said that their accommodations did not meet their expectations. That's a very low number. 95% were satisfied or very satisfied with their overall stay here. and over 90% were satisfied with the customer service they received. Both of those numbers are up as well. They gave their highest ratings to the things that most heavily influenced why they came, which is a nice match. Warm weather, safe destination, peaceful and relaxing, and then the next one not shown on this slide is our beautiful sandy white beaches. 3 out of 10 are concerned about traffic. 3 out of 10 said nothing, even though we gave them a list and basically encourages them to check something. Water quality, seaweed, red tide were mentioned by about 3 out of 10. We asked them to describe the destination in their own words to their friends back home, and then we categorize that information, and you can see the 3 categories here that come up most. Some of these quotes are terrific. When I crossed the bridge to Sanibel after a winter in the Northeast, I feel like it is the light at the end of the tunnel. The turquoise waters and white beaches welcome me and provide much needed rest and relaxation. Beautiful, relaxing beaches with good fishing, good food, and good friends, whether you know them or just met them. Peaceful, family-friendly environment where you can unwind and relax. So they have nice things to say about their stay here. We asked property managers and owners to give us an indication of how things look 3 months out, and those individuals are not quite as optimistic as they were at this point. 24% said bookings are up over the next 3 months compared to 34% last year. And then looking out 6 months, 1 in 6 said that bookings were up compared with 38% last year. But I will add that property managers and owners tend to be a little more pessimistic in their expectations than actually ends up happening. So any questions about the report?
Any questions, comments?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. One last thing, reminder, we won't have a TDC meeting next month because we're going to go to Governor's Conference September 4th through 6th, so just a friendly reminder.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next will be Pam.
Yes, good morning.
Great to see you here again.
Yes, good morning. Jeff Familke is on vacation, so in his absence, I have the pleasure of presenting just a very brief report on April and May sports results. I will say that the reason why I'm not presenting June this morning is because June was perfect game, and it was a little bit later, and those results are still being audited. So I'm only presenting April and May, and when Jeff gets back at his next rotation, he'll present June and probably through the end of the fiscal. So let's just jump right on in. In April, you can see we just had just over 5,000 room nights sold and a direct visitor spend of 2.3 million. I know Jeff likes to show you the trend blind, and just so as a result of losing the Pepsi Youth Bowling event in which happened in 2018. We did not have that this year, which is why April is down. That event represented about 3,800 room nights, and we only hosted one FYSA event, the Florida Youth Soccer Association, and each FYSA event represents about 1,000 room nights, so we only hosted one. So April is down. Just anecdotally, just looking at that 2017 year, that was a roller hockey event, not Narch, and we are negotiating for a return of that event in 2020, as well as Narch for next year. Moving on to May, again, just over 11,000 room nights sold and direct visitor spend, 4.1 million. In looking at May was up, and that was due primarily to perfect game over Memorial Day weekend. That represented about 4,650 room nights, I believe. And then the Florida High School Athletic Association baseball finals. That was the 7th consecutive year of hosting this group. So that's why we had a great May. I also, just in looking at this, I asked Jeff, I went all the way back to 2015 rather, and asked why that was so high. And he shared with me in 2015 was when we hosted Perfect Game, but we were the only place in the country that hosted Perfect Game, and now Perfect Game is split up between 5 different areas, so you can see the impact that has had for us. And so, again, just a really brief report this morning. Happy to answer any questions. Angel Natal is here to help me just in case there are questions. And as I said, Jeff will return and he'll give you a report for June through the remainder of the fiscal year.
Great. Thank you. Any questions?
Maybe a question for Angel.
Yes.
A Perfect Game with them announcing that they're moving to Texas, out of Texas. Do you think that's going to have an impact?
Angel Natel, honored to be here. I work under Jeff and Pamela's direction. So leadership has asked us to think more efficiently, so we are certainly on our One Org efforts. It is going to impact us. We do know that they're meeting now in San Diego as part of one of their signature events, and we're going to look at next year's schedule for certain. So we are anticipating that next year will stay the same, but as Jeff has shared in many forums, we do know that by 2021, their facility is scheduled to be open we are expecting some impact, particularly in fall of 2021. We do know that the sophomore events, the underclass World Championship, which has over 250 teams, will not be in this market. So I think that's what we've shared. But leadership has tasked us and providing us resources to be more efficient. So we are looking at other ways, other events. You'll see a focus on signature events that'll be targeting smaller participation teams with the hopes of driving more spectators, which transitions to that leisure visitor as well with the higher spending. So we met last week with obviously our core team, including Parks and Rec, to understand what events are being successful and those that we need to transition and improve. So that's kind of where we are as a department. But Parks and Rec and Sport Development are working on those solutions as we speak.
Do you have any idea how many potential room nights you think Perfect Game's going to impact us by when they move?
Yeah, we're anticipating anywhere from 30 to 35,000 room nights lost by fall of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And we are hoping that we still keep a portion of their summer business. They do, from a business strategy perspective, of course, baseball is strong in Florida, Texas, and California. So they will. Our hopes are that we have a presence with them. The unique aspect of what they're doing now is they are looking at getting into the softball. So that could be an opportunity because we do softball rather well. Any other questions? And of course, leadership can provide any direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I just
Glenn.
follow up real quick? So Jeff and Gary, you and myself, we went up and we talked to the founder of Perfect Game recently, and we are trying to navigate what all of this means to us. As Angel noted, we do expect a strong component of the Florida business to stay here for some time. At least that's what he assured us at the time. And in addition, as he mentioned, they are moving strongly into softball, and so we are exploring that opportunity as we speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Next, we'll move on. Next business will be the 2019-20 Events Marketing Funding. Nancy?
Good morning. Nancy McPhee, Product Development. Today I'm going to ask the TDC to consider approving marketing funding recommendations for next fiscal year. Once you make the recommendation, it will be moved forward to the Board of County and it'll be absorbed as a part of their approval process for next year's budget. So the first program that we want to talk about is events marketing. As you know, the goal of this program is to generate out-of-market media exposure and room night generation for Lee County. The current year room night generation for the events that you funded for current year is up 13%, and that's with 2 events yet to report, including Island Hopper. In addition, the reach of the marketing placements made by these event organizers has produced 50 million impressions for the destination. So we appreciate all the work of the event organizers. It's not easy. There's a 8-point criteria that they need to meet in order to be funded. And I want to show appreciation to the committee that reviews all of the requests. They also review the prior year reports. The committee consisted this year of Pam Cronin, Colleen DePasquale, and Fran Myers. And in your packet and on the screen is the recommendations they have made for you to consider for next fiscal year, a total of 7 events. And the amount of funding that's being requested is $111,350. So, Pam, did you have any comments?
No, unless anybody has a question. I think we're good.
Any questions? No?
So we need you to make them.
Sorry, I do have one comment.
Okay.
Through the years, the organizations have so stepped up and made the proposals so much better and have done the things we've asked them to do. So each year it makes it a little easier because they're going with more social media. They're making the changes that we've asked them to, and so we're really happy to fund.
I have one quick question. All of them seem to be funded almost at the funding request except for the Fort Myers Beach Friends of the Arts. Was there a technical issue with that caused that to be the case?
Yes, so they, number one, have yet to report totally on the current year. It happened in April. But more importantly, the last 2 years you've funded them at the full amount, $15,000, but they've only requested reimbursement on $7,000 of it. So the committee recommended if that's all they're able to spend, why not just allocate that amount to them?
Thank you.
So we'll need the TDC to make a motion.
Okay, so we need a motion, a second for the action.
I'll make a motion.
Tony got a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Any objection? No objection. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. The next program is the Attractions Marketing Program. This program, a portion of it is administered by the Southwest Florida Community Foundation, and the other portion has gone to the Edison Ford Winter Estates. This year, the Southwest Florida Community Foundation, and Tricia Body is here if you have questions of her, but they administered it for us. Pam, Colleen, and Tony Lappy were the committee that you appointed last year. They reviewed over 40 attractions marketing requests. It took a month and a half. It's an extreme amount of work. We appreciate that. The marketing team at the VCB reviewed the final reports for current year funding. This program strengthens the awareness of local arts and cultural attractions that enhance the tourism opportunities in Lee County, and it makes them stronger. It's a true product development initiative to make these smaller attractions better at representing their attraction out of market. This is some of the tactics that were funded current year. Final reports from current year marketing shows that there have been increases across the board in web traffic because their websites are getting better with your help of this funding. Social engagement, media impressions, and most importantly, the attendance at the attractions as well as visitor satisfaction levels are increasing. This year, the Southwest Florida Community Foundation, and their request is in your packet, is requesting $400,000 that will be distributed to 39 attractions in our community. Again, the total budget for attractions marketing is $450,000, so we're asking you to consider $400,000 for the Community Foundation and $50,000 for the Edison Ford Winter Estates. Andrea requests that you make the motion separately. Does any of the committee have any comments they want to add? Tony, it was your first time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I want to get on the other committee because we're 42. I like that one with just. But nobody told me that ahead of time. But I got to give credit to Pam and Colleen. It was great working with them and Trish as well. For me as a newcomer, it was a hard experience, and it's very interesting to see how my mind works mostly with beds and heads and all that good stuff, but this is more about making these places better. And one of the things that came out of it was that we want to see how these attractions and arts do over maybe a 3-year period to see if we can see a growth curve in their attendance to make sure that the monies that we're giving them makes a movement in the needle. So it was a great experience, and believe me, my credit goes out for Pam. You've been doing this how many years? Forever.
17, 18.
But, it takes a good, probably 30 minutes for each one of these to be reviewed, and then the meetings that we had, but it was all in all a good experience. Thanks, Nancy.
The reporting is valuable, and there's an example of the reports that they need to submit in the Edison Ford request if you want to see. Every attraction needs to report on the goals that they set for each year. So,
Thank you.
so if there's no questions, we need a motion on the $400,000 for the Southwest Florida Community Foundation.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion with a second. Any discussion on that item? Any objection? Objection. And we need the second one now for the Edison Ford Estates.
I'll move the item.
A motion by Fran. Second. Any discussion on that item? Any objection? Objection. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy.
And Tamara, back to you. Do you
Back to me. Lucy couldn't be with us today, so I get to present the budget reports. Reminder that we're presenting multiple budget reports to you now. These are the currently 4 budgets you see each year. The Visitor and Convention Bureau's operating budget, the attractions marketing budget, and then the beach and shoreline operating budget, and last but not least, the sports development budget. As you will see, really good position for the third quarter report. VCB operating budget is about almost right on the dot, 76% spent. Obviously, the attractions marketing budget works a little bit differently. It's 92% spent, but we're in good shape there.
I thought you volunteered.
I did volunteer. And beach and shoreline budget, a little bit underspent, but right at 71% total. And sports development coming in right at 78%. So budgets are in good shape. We do need a motion for you to accept the reports.
We have a motion?
Good budget.
Second.
We have a second with Tony. Any discussion on the budgets? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
That's all I have.
Great. Next, for the Town of Florence Beach, request to increase Newton Beach restroom project funding. Allison. So I think this is the history of some money was already approved in the past, and now this is some new numbers that come in based upon the current projections for the cost for build-out.
Good morning, Council. My name is Allison Geeson. On behalf of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, I'm joined with Chelsea O'Reilly, who is the Public Works Manager. This original project was actually submitted for the fiscal year 17-19. The original estimate that we had been given for that was over 2 years ago. Due to a lot of things that have happened here in Southwest Florida since then, we had been unable to secure a contractor for this project. As you know, Newton Beach Park is our second busiest beach access, and with a limited amount of restrooms, we wanted to make sure that this project was done to meet our visitor needs and to also be able to help the historical integrity of the 1950s cottage in which these restrooms were located. So after further investigation, and we finally secured a contractor, we are asking consideration for the additional funding of the $127,038 to be able to move on this project. I wanted to let you know that information was in your packet, which was provided by Chelsea O'Reilly, and we're here to answer any questions about this project, as we would really love to be able to move this forward after this time has passed.
I'm going to make a motion on this item. It's something we really desperately need. If you look at the park and you look at just the license plates, it's major. And it's the only restroom from, I think, Lynn Hall all the way down.
Literally in the middle of the island. If you haven't been to Newton Park, it's a beautiful spot on Fort Myers Beach, the middle of the island. Publix is just a couple of, maybe 2 blocks away. It has tiki huts, picnic tables. It's a highly utilized little park in the center of the island. But I hate to ask this question, but what's the number 1 access?
Times Square is definitely the busiest.
Times Square, okay, yeah. Okay, I'll second your motion, Fran.
We have a motion by second. Any questions, discuss, Colleen?
The second page isn't in our
our packet, but when I read through this, I think the project needs to happen. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. I guess my concern is, there was a comment made, I thought, on the second page. It basically said the homework wasn't done, right? To come up with the right number, and what I don't want to do is set a precedent that if you don't do your homework, we'll help fix those mistakes later. And I know that's not on either of you. What I want to do is just kind of put the word out that we don't operate that way, and we're not, like, you need to do your homework, put the right request in so that we can just get it done. It's like, oh, we're a little short because things have changed, but this is 2 years ago, and it's 3 times the ask, when it's all said and done now, right? Went from 70 to over 200,000. So I have concerns with that part of this request, not the fact, let's get it done, but we just need to really, if you're going to put a request in, do the homework first, because don't presume because we've said okay here today that I think that it would happen again.
I would like to comment on that, and I agree. We really thought that this was going to be a great request, and I agree with you, Colleen, about making sure that things are in. But when you deal with historic house issues and the integrity, you really never know until you get in. And then we had Irma. No contractors would even come near the beach, and it was 2.5 years, so we did have some things, and I totally agree with you. But when we submitted this, I really did think that we were going to be right on with that. But there was a lot of different factors that happened to our area that the contractors would not even submit a bid. We did it 4 times and had to get counsel just to be able to agree to let us go with the contractor and the one that we could choose. So I do understand your comment, and I appreciate that. It is never the town's intention to not do their homework on this, and with the historical integrity of that cottage is a very thing that we're passionate about preserving on that beach. So it gets a little weird on those projects.
So we only have 1 bid on this, right?
Yes, yes.
But they went out twice, am I right? Like you've gone out
4
twice
times
to try to find 4?
Yes. It was published 4 times over the past 2 years.
And only one contractor bid on it, is that correct? You wouldn't get it, nobody else bid on it? Welcome to busy.
If you think about the condition of Fort Myers Beach right now, we have an $80 million road project going right through the center of the town. And I mean, just to back this up, it took me almost 1.5 years to get a contractor to do a repair on my store. It has been, as good as things have been, and as fortunate as we are to be in the situation that we're in right now, there have been tremendous difficulties as well. And Cecil, Mr. Pendergrass, please don't think I'm saying anything negative about that road project, because we're going to love it when it's finished.
We're right on schedule.
That's right, yeah, it's
We're right on
looking
schedule. So
fantastic.
that's not an issue down there.
Yes, and thank you for that.
The other good thing is that Rob Fowler's the one that put the bid in. He's very, very familiar with that project and has worked on a lot of the Newton stuff.
Kitchen took them a while.
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky. We're
Yeah.
very lucky to have him.
Does this come out of the Beach and Shore? So this is an additional number from 2000. Do we go back to the 2018 budget then?
We'll pull it from reserves.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Well, it'll go to the board, obviously. If they approve it, they'll take funds from reserves to cover those additional expenses.
Plus, we just got 47,000 back, right? Jane Darling?
Right? Hold that thought. Yeah. Well, so that's
Pam had a question.
logistically.
Oh, no, just, when we got 47,000 back from.
You're correct.
Jane Darling.
Right.
For the year ahead, correct.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion on the item? Any objection? Motion carries. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Get it built. You need that restroom. Well, thank you. We'll move on to council information. Tony, we'll start with you. Do you have any information, anything for us today? Anything?
The only thing I know that I got the invitation to the governor's conference, and Dana Young being the new president and CEO. I encourage you to Google her. She's got great credentials. I think she's going to be a great leader for Visit Florida, but she's going to need our support, especially as we go into session and things like that. So I would encourage you all to go to governor's conference, or certainly, the August 29th? Is that when it is, when Sandcap is putting it on, to try to get there and give her support, introduce yourselves, and let her know that tourism is important for all of us.
Yep. Well, I'll be there too, so I'm looking forward to it. Rob?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Bill?
Next week, I'll be attending the FRLA Summit meeting, which is Tuesday and Wednesday. Good hotel and restaurant information with that. And then I'll be going up to the STAR Conference to see what they're forecasting for next year. So I'll bring back all the insights from that.
Grateful.
Yeah. And, just look at trends. And, one of the things that I think Florida and Fort Myers being positioned well right now, you got horrible publicity in the Dominican Republic right now with the deaths. You've got political unrest in Puerto Rico, and you have travel to Cuba shut off. So it's, that uncertainty with the Caribbean is a benefit for Florida. So hopefully it continues.
And we benefited some from the Caribbean issues 2 years ago, right? I mean, everything's cyclical, and we know that there's no question that, there's got to be some lingering impact from what happened last time. No question. So, I agree, Bill.
Just if I could toot my own hotel's horn for just a second. We all know how important it is to take care of our customers when they come in and give them the experience they need, but it's equally important to take care of our employees that take care of those customers. And we're very proud at the hotel that Florida Trends magazine just put out their best companies to work for issue, and the Hyatt Regency Coconut Point was a large business best company to work for, number 21 on the list in the state of Florida. So we're very excited about that. So it's the third year for us winning it and being on the list. So we're excited about that. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Good. Good.
It's always a great experience there. The employees are always happy. So.
Must have a great leader down
I think that's the entire reason.
It's that lazy river, what it is. That lazy river.
Send kids to college, right?
Colleen?
So in June, at TDC, we talked about the reauthorization and continued funding of Visit Florida. So you asked me to come back with some information. I did reach out and spoke to Dana Young. She sent me the information that you have sitting here. So what was interesting is I'm coming here today to ask you to support, as the Tourist Development Council, the reauthorization and full funding of Visit Florida. And as I listened to our VCB team report outs, they mentioned Visit Florida. They partner with Visit Florida 7 times. Sales, communication, and marketing. Like 7 times in the span of 3 months, we either have had projects with Visit Florida or will be doing projects with Visit Florida. So they kind of just did all the work for me, so I don't have to say anything. But I understand, I went and asked the questions like how much, for Lee County, Visit Florida worked with 886 partners in our community alone. So I'm not going to read this to you because you have it in front of you. Some of the things you should know is I put, the one page I did put together is that our chamber, the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce and the Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce both have a legislative priority that supports the continued funding and reauthorization of Visit Florida. And when I took this to my board, we always look at as much information as possible so that we make informed decisions because we share that then with our members. So when I went to go look for data on the cons, why would we not support Visit Florida? Why? Is there a better method? Is there something different we should be doing? There is no data that has been provided by those that don't support the continuation of Visit Florida. They do feel that it is corporate welfare. Like to be honest, they think it's corporate welfare that we help the tourism market. The other piece is they think it's Florida and that people will just come here. Mm-hmm. But listening to our sales and marketing and communication team proved again that we don't compete at the national level as much as we compete internationally as well. And without Visit Florida, I don't know that we have as strong as voice as we could have had. So knowing that I can't provide you data that says we shouldn't do this, and of course, obviously, I support it. So I'm trying to share all of that I have. But our chamber, the 2 chambers, and then the Alliance of Chambers is also taking it on and taking it back to their boards. And if they approve it, then we would have 7 chambers that would support Visit Florida, and we would know that by October. But for now, I don't know what that next step is in regards to the county commissioners or us. But I think that we need to have our voice heard in a professional way so that we can support this moving forward, if you agree.
Any comments?
I think it's a good idea.
I have a suggestion. What if we and staff, we direct staff here today to compile a list of everything, how Visit Florida helps our group, how it helps us locally in Lee County, because we're speaking about. And I bring it up as a commissioner item to support the resolution sent to the state and to the delegation to how much we support Visit Florida. And I know they had their issue last year, and they did, they cut funding, but we do not need it to sunset. We need it to stay in place. Historically, it's been great for Florida. It's been great for Lee County. And so I think the message needs to be clear. And like you said, compile of data showing how it impacts us here in Lee County, how it helps our staff, and how they impact us. Look at the numbers. I mean, this is our economy. This is our lifeblood here to Southwest Florida, that we need to have that.
Thank you.
So if somebody here wants to make a motion for that, I'd be happy to bring that up to the board item.
Make that motion. Would that go from the Board of County Commissioners, or?
Yes, I think that's be the effective way to do that. And also will be, and I didn't think about this, or Andrew, I'm not sure if it'd be appropriate to do one from the TDC Council and one from the Board of County Commissioners, or just saying on behalf of the TDC Council and the Board of County Commissioners.
I think.
Yeah, just on behalf of both groups, and just make sure that it's a positive, clear message. We don't want to be one of those resolutions that gets sent and somebody basically looks at it. But the key thing is for the next, when is Helter Skelter start next session? So we're like, what, 6 months away from, so we're not far away from sessions starting up again, so we have to get that message out, not just our delegation. And, last year we had other issues statewide that we had fall, I dealt with Team Florida, with transportation. We had, so there's all kinds of issues going on in the state. And, the new governor and the new Speaker of the House had their agenda. We heard them. They took action. But now it's time to get back to work and think about what Florida needs for the future, not just this year. So I think we send the right message, and that's the thing. The key is the message and how you present that message.
Right, I agree. Thank you.
I think we'll be able to comprise something with some data about what the impact is with dollars and numbers, how important it is. And again, it's tourists paying into our local economy. So if they're going to keep driving those numbers, talk about how everybody's leaving New York to come down here, there's a reason for that. Well, we need to express why they're coming here. Not just to visit, but while they're moving here too, because they visit here, they wind up moving here. I think a lot of people in this room probably visit here at one time, they wind up living here for the rest of their life. So we need to make sure they understand those numbers. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be a challenge probably, but I'm up for it. So from our side, so looking forward to it. Okay. Any other discussion on it? Any objection? No objection? Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
Andrew, do you have anything for us? No, that's good. Glenn, do you have anything from administration?
No, sir, thank you.
Yeah, Pamela? No? Brad?
You have your air updates. We didn't have a meeting this last month, but you do have your air updates. Carol brought them today. Interesting. Thank you, Carol.
Well, actually, I was going to, Carol, you have to come up.
Carol,
we were talking about earlier, we were talking about that it's called fake news, that data that went out about the airport. I had the media calling me during our meeting and asking me to do an interview, and I told them to contact Vicki, the Port Authority. But, I don't know the background, but, we deal with this stuff in my world every day where you have one person to create a website and put it together. We had that recently locally. The guy that got arrested, the fire commissioner, Robert Anderson, had a thing called Lehigh Gazette. It's him and 30 people that created something on the internet, and then we deal with the hotels, restaurants. People create one bad review, and it hurts your business. And I'm not sure the background. I've never heard of this group or whatever it is. This one person sitting somewhere in a folding chair in Arizona, make up a list of airports. I mean, I don't know. But I'm just saying, we have that out there. It was some good news coverage last night because we're talking to people at the airport about this thing. We're ranked one of the worst airports in the country. Everybody's like, well, we love our airport here. And other than a lounge, which is coming with the new enhancements, I mean, there's nothing wrong with our airport.
And all the awards we have received.
Right.
I mean, really and truly, I must not have come out to our airport selfishly. I mean, we do so much there. But I think a little background on that, the points man who did this, who wrote this, he's affiliated with high-end Chase credit card. So he's probably talking to a lot of their high-end credit card, users, because two of the dings that we did get in this article was on the lounge, was a business lounge, which we, in our new terminal expansion, we will be getting a business lounge. And another one was travel amenities. We will be doing all new updates on our concessions too. So there are the areas. I mean, the commissioner said, look at J.D. Power. I mean, we're always in the top 3 of J.D. Power and TripAdvisor too. So we're not really taking much credit towards it. So we know, and everybody here knows how wonderful the airport and what improvements that we're going to.
That was shocking. Maybe today, I don't know if your staff, Vicky's putting something together, suggested Jeff and Vicky to put something out to, and the media is reaching out to them as we speak, hopefully, to respond to that and say of all the awards we have received over the years for our airport in different categories. So.
Yeah. No, I will. I'm going to bring it back to Jeff and talk to Vicki about it too. But yeah, that's where it came from. I was pretty shocked about it too, because all the awards we get and just working with everybody here, and and what we do in the terminal, and thanks to everybody here. So yeah, she's definitely going to respond to it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else, friend, from the airport or anything? No. Councilman John, do you have anything for us? Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on this council, and I'm very impressed with the agenda, the way it's worked, and I also want to thank Tamara for spending a good part of several hours going through everything that you've got. So I'm impressed with what the previous results, and I'm looking forward to contributing to the future, and I'll get up to speed here pretty quickly. Even though Estero doesn't have beaches, we enjoy all of the amenities that at the ball fields and the rest. So
great shopping.
Yeah, and shopping is great in Miramar and all of Estero. So I'm glad to be here, and I will contribute the best I can. Thank you.
And we said the shopping and dining, you see the numbers there, and you see the economic impact to the whole region with that. It's just, it's another asset to your area, to this whole big picture. So, thank you. Mayor?
I really am happy to be back on this board. Since the town incorporated in 1995, I've been involved with Fort Myers Beach, and bar none, this is the best committee ever. I just really love being on this committee. But I wanted to just tell you briefly some exciting things that are happening in Fort Myers Beach. The council on August 19th will be selecting a firm that is going to be doing some new branding for Fort Myers Beach. We're looking at redoing Times Square all the way down to Bayfront Park, which is where Nervous Nellies is. There are a lot of changes happening, and as I talk about Fort Myers Beach, I talk about it as the next page in our book, because Fort Myers Beach is changing dramatically. We have a lot of affluent people moving into the area. Margaritaville is going to be a stamp on our island like no other. The principals of that company, if you haven't had a chance to meet them, Mr. Torgerson, Mr. Dammerman, probably some of the finest people I've met in my life. They've been really great for our town, and I think that project overall will just add to the package of fantastic resorts we have, like Pink Shell. Margaritaville will be right up there with that, and it's an exciting time for our town, a really exciting time. The sad thing I want to tell you is that my term ends in March, and so Rexanne Hossafras, who is here with me, she is my friend and a fellow council member. She's going to be attending these meetings because she'll be taking my place in March. Well, actually, probably April she'll be taking my place. So, but for this next time, I really am happy to be here with you all.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman, thank you, and welcome back too. Glad to see you run again, so thank you for being back into it. Thank you, Mayor. Pam?
I have nothing.
Great, okay. Well, with that, I guess we'll go ahead and adjourn, and we'll see you next month at the Governor's Conference.
Good meeting.
So thank you.